It's a weird thing. I'm often told by everybody that I'm something of a chemical contradiction, as I very frequently find myself on this show chugging down an energy drink either just before we go live or as we're going live, and then I crack open a couple beers for the show. It's a doctor's got to be wondering how I'm still standing.
You can't appreciate the upper until you've had the downer.
Exactly. See, it's I gotta get, or I can't appreciate the downer until I'm up. I'm not going down. I'm not calming down from the.
You were once told that when you were up, you can't get down, and you
If I get back up again, you're never gonna keep me down.
Well, as Public Enemy once said, get up, get down. 911 is a joke in your town.
So now that we're done thumping our way through this intro, hi everybody, welcome to the Metal Lab. I'm Jason. I know you heard his lovely, beautiful dulcet tones. It's Mr. Tom Kerr.
Cheers, everyone. Hello.
I'm also joined by Mr. Mike.
Hello.
And Jay.
Hi.
One of these days, Jay's going to appreciate that intro. It's the week before Rock
One of
Cup.
these days.
One of these days. One of these Jays. Yeah.
Tom, what are you drinking? What are you drinking over there?
It's a mix of orange and pomegranate juice.
It's not
even alcoholic. It's just yummy.
Yeah.
Love it.
It's a non-alcoholic mimosa.
I also have my American Pinot Noir cask finished American whiskey here, ready for when I finish the sweet.
Oh, so when he's done drinking, he's going to start drinking.
You're right. That's how that works.
All right, it's the week before Roctober. That's pretty much the topic of conversation on the tip of everybody's tongues. It's this week, of course, so we're really looking forward to the result of that. I myself, unfortunately, will not be able to make it, but I know Jay's going to be down there judging. Tom's going to be down there playing. Mike, you're also not going to be able to make it.
No, unfortunately, I'm actually doing a pre-shoot for a little film this week and next week, so can't make it.
I hear you. I apparently. I'm not going to get into it. I don't want to talk about it. I'm just going to behave myself and do what I promised myself to do and keep that part of my life out of the show. Tom, how's your week in HeroClix been?
It's been great.
Who's that beside you?
Right? Yeah, testament to a good week. I've not been able to play much in the last few weeks since the Rock World Cup, or Canada Cup, I should say, just because practicing and getting ready for that was a lot of time and a lot of preparation, and it was going to have to pay. I was going to have to pay the piper for that at some point, and that happened immediately after. So I went into heavy work mode for a few weeks there. So it was great to play again. I showed up for the month 3 Days of Future Past at one of the stores locally. I didn't even realize I was in contention for a Tri-Sentinel. I was just there because I had the free afternoon and wanted to play HeroClix. They were handling it as a sealed pre-release. So it was, we had the pre-release content for Battle World and got our 2 packs, built our sealed teams, and that was the tournament, and it was awesome. And to make a long story short, I didn't pull anything I was particularly inspired by. So initially, I just took the logic of play as simple a team as I could from what I had, in the hopes of focusing more on what my opponents were doing and not having to worry about so much myself. And it turns out that it synced up better than I thought it would. It was an SR Spider Queen and the Maestro at 100 points. So just a straight 300-point team. What made it work so well was that it was a ruler-themed team. Even that little +2 helped me get map in 2 of the 3 games so that I could go on to the underground caverns, use the Maestro to kind of tunnel his way through to open up the path for Spider Queen to either come in with running shot Pulse Wave or running shot double mind control with tokening people, pull them over next to her poison. And they're both hard to deal with. They're both obviously perplexed leadership, so as long as they're next to each other, they're popping tokens off. Maestro makes good mastermind fodder, and otherwise he's just an aggressive beast of a machine that is really hard to take down. He's way better at 100 points than I gave him credit for. I knew I liked him at 175, but I think I just like him, period. And Spider Queen is softer than I would have liked, but I think if you play her well enough, and especially in a sealed setting, you can get a lot of legs out of her. No pun intended, I guess. But pun accepted. Anyway, the team still performed better than I expected it to, largely, again, because of the benefit of the map and lots of perplexes to go around. So I was able to win all 3 of my games through and it was... Oh, my internet Skyping again?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, I don't have a lot to say. I just the tournament went very well. I won my 3 games. As it turns out, that made me just at the point where I was able to get enough points to get the Tri Sentinel, which is very exciting, and I'm very happy to have it. And that was my week in HeroClix.
It's Tom accidentally winning Tri-Sentinels, ladies and gentlemen. With the Hulk, nonetheless.
Yep, that sounds exactly right.
That's the most Tom Kerr thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah. He reversed his hole at this moment because that happened.
Mike, how's your week been?
My week was pretty good. I managed to go to the month 3 of Days of Future Past at 401 Games, which was sort of my local, even though it's like an hour trek now for me to go there. But I guess that's changing again. I knew I was actually in a good position to win it because I had won month 1. And I think I was like second or so in month 2. So I knew I was in a pretty good position. And really the only other person I knew who had a chance to affect me point-wise was Devin, because he had won month 2. And it's a upscaling point thing. Like each month is basically worth more points. So I knew that there was a mathematical possibility. But it turns out, I guess, in some way, my local players really maybe wanted me to win it because only 3 of us showed up. So the maths really started to swing in my favor. Of course, one of those other 2 people was Devin.
Is it just me or is this kid good?
Right? Yeah. And you know what? Lately, I gotta say, Devin's had a really good run of luck when we play each other. I always manage to win some, but he's had a fair amount of games. I'd say 2/3 of our games, he's had some crazy luck against me. So I'm getting a little scared playing him. He's already a good player, and it's scarier when you see them have hot dice against you. I remember, Jay, you and I, for a long time, there was that kind of swing where I always seemed to have hot dice when I would play against you. And then one day that curse broke.
I broke the curse!
Hard for me.
That was like a 15-year curse, I want to point out.
That was a long time. So anyway, so it was just 3 of us there. And really it came down to I obviously had to win a game, which I was going to get with the bye. So really, if I won one of my 2 games, then it was a guarantee. So I ended up playing first against Kirk. Kirk made an X-Men. Oh, the build was they had to build 200 points, and then you were going to buy a booster, and you were going to add 100 points or more from that booster to your team. So you could scale back that 200 points to make room for more than 100 from the booster if possible. But you still had to come with the 200 already built and ready to go. So I've been playing Batman. I really like the set, and I love that rare Batman for some reason. And so I played him again. I played him at 60 points. I played Title Batgirl again because she's fantastic. And if I played her, you better believe I played Fast Force's 25-point Penguin. And so I had 45 more points left available to me in the build. And I could have done Robin Chase figure from the Elseworld set. But I decided instead of doing that whole taxi thing, because Batman can just move on his own anyway, and he already ignores a lot of terrain, elevated and hindering. He can move and then just do the battering attack anyway afterwards. It's really just giving him a token. And with Indomitable, I'm not quite as worried about the token. So I actually decided to play Old Man Bruce at 40 points, making Batman the apprentice of Old Man Bruce. And I used my last 5 points for the map bonus to pay for the Gotham map again, because Batman, I like when he gets that +1 to his defense, and I really like that map. It really works well for a stealth-based team, especially with Batgirl and Batman. Love that map. And there was a part of me that was, and of course I bought a Batman animated series booster in hopes of getting it. Mathematically, if I'd have really, really wanted to go for theme, it would have made sense to play X-Men, because the X-Men set, over 2/3 of that set have X-Men keyword. Yeah. So the math really works out that you're going to make an X-Men theme team from whatever you pull from that booster. Whereas there's only 21 figures in the Batman set that have Gotham City. So the chance of me getting Gotham City, not great. And I didn't. But if I was ever going to get a booster of a set and not pull theme, I was really happy to pull Chase Flash, who I didn't have.
That seems fine.
Right? So I felt really good right away. I actually also pulled the rare Flash in the booster as well. I pulled J-Man, Leslie Tompkins, Dr. Leslie Tompkins, is that her name? I forget.
Yeah.
And God, who was the other piece that I pulled? Oh, Two-Face. So no, I couldn't make theme because there was nothing in there. Like Leslie Tompkins has Gotham City, but that's 15 points. I could have been like 90 points underbuilt or 85 points underbuilt and had theme.
Oh, I'm sure you had to come up with something in a Flash.
Yeah, which is clearly what I did. So I played the rare Flash, and I just threw the Chase Flash on my sideboard because he's no points. Why not? And I just said, well, why not? I mean, I don't have theme, but at least I've got probability control on Batgirl already, and I've got Perplexes. And a hypersonic character with Perplexes is going to like that. Kirk played X-Men. He opened boosters. He played it's the super rare Magic. So he still maintained his X-Men theme. He was playing the Blackbird, I think Blackbird Moira, 50 points Cyclops, and I think there was something else in there, maybe.
Dazzler,
thank you, Dazzler, because he wanted to ruin stealth. Dazzler helped him, of course, because he actually also won map roll, and he decided to choose map and let Batman have the plus to his defense because he chose that covered bridge map, which which has almost no hindering on it at all, right? So basically, it didn't really matter. The Blackbird was a gigantic target for my team. I just used the whole move Batman up. He's Bruce Wayne's apprentice, so he has outwit. He moves up, he outwits something. He does the free Batarang attack on the Blackbird. Flash runs in and punches the Blackbird. Next turn, I hit it one more time, it's gone. It was close because he managed, obviously, to take out Batman, and then he managed to take out Batgirl. And I was a little bit worried. I'm like, okay, now I'm in some trouble. But I was far enough up on points at that point in time that I managed to just take everything else that he had. I think that's how that worked out. It was tight until like 2/3 of the way through, and then all of a sudden everything I did worked out right. I finished him off, and because I won that game, I knew that I was going to win the whole thing. So Devin in my game, it really didn't matter as much. Devin made a cosmic theme team. He brought Cosmo Moondragon, and I think he put I forget what else he had there. But then he ended up pulling a Cosmo and a Sentry. So he put that onto his team with the other Cosmos. So he had two Cosmos, Moondragon and the Sentry, and he played it at the sidestep outwit version, which was good for him because he already had two people who ignored stealth who have outwit, and now he had another outwitter. So his whole plan was to just outwit me a lot. But really, he didn't have any move and attack potential. They're sidestepping into a position and then being able to do something at distance. But I had the hypersonic, I had Batman move and be able to Batarang, as well as, I got plot point tokens on Batgirl really quickly. She was able to move over and do the remove 2, outwit, and then charge. I actually missed a whole bunch that game. I crit missed 3 different times trying to move the loyalty token, which is insane.
Oh.
And not to count the 4 3s that I rolled in trying to move the loyalty token. I failed the loyalty token move roll way more times than I succeeded in that game. Like probably 80% of the time I failed it. Thankfully, most of those times it was just the free action part, but the crit misses were brutal because then I had to waste my prob in not taking damage for Batgirl. But it that was a pretty overall. It was the same thing again. He managed to get some. I took some points. He took some points. It was tight, and then I got the hits I needed. Flash was running around and poking and running, and I won. So with the bye, I actually went 3-0. So I had all the points. So just like Tom, I got myself one of these cool, funky, pinky, purpley, bluey thingies. I love him. I think he's great. I'm pretty stoked. I've actually been building all kinds of funny teams with his keywords with the 30-point version. And yeah, it was fun. It was a fun day. Would have loved more rounds, obviously. But no, it is what it is. I think sometimes people, they do the math and they think they don't have a chance and they didn't come out, which is too bad. But yeah, I got a league.
All right. Jay, how's your week been?
Not technically zero, but as close to zero as you can get because I only judged the 4-on-1 event. And I was actually pretty close based on what I found out later that week. And that I almost got 2 Tri-Sentinel, or I could have gotten 2 Tri-Sentinels this weekend. Because I went 2-1 and 2-1 at the warehouse, DC Future Past 1-2, and then Aubrey didn't do so well this month. So if I would have been able to show, but I couldn't because of my anniversary, I could have gotten a Tri-Sentinel. And then unfortunately, somehow 4-1 did not have the judge one for me, so I'll have to get that rectified. But almost got 2 this weekend, which was cool. But yeah, other than that, just judged the 4-1 event, which was, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm. I also didn't get much hero clicking in. I mean, we saw the game that I posted recently on the channel, so that happened. Game just that got slowly far away from me once I was down to Jeanette and 2 of my figures. That was kind of fun. But please watch the episode. It's great. It's a lot of fun. Me and Amber had a lot of fun, and we've been having a great time with her building teams. Enjoy them while we still can. We're gonna do our best to keep those going, but we'll see how Amber's work schedule says about that. Amber and Alexis went to the same event that Tom went and won, and thank goodness my daughter and my wife have some awesome pull luck because Amber brought home the Avengers BC Iron Fist, and Alexis pulled the Thanos Super Rare and the Iron Fist Spider-Man Super Rare as well. So I'm not gonna complain about what they came home with. That's for sure. I'm gonna get my first taste of sealed this week. That's for sure. We are also gonna have our buddy Aiden come over on Friday. We're gonna do another team sealed practice run. Unless Tom wants to come over on Friday. Call me Tom. We'll see. But yeah, my week's been mostly kind of keeping up with the channel and everything like that. We're kind of back in action. Recently got an email about an everyman format tournament run, and the results were fun to read. So can't wait to talk about that on Thursday. With that all aside, let's talk about what's coming up this weekend, and that is Roctober. Now, myself and Mike, we're not going to be there, but we can speculate and watch. I actually had a chance this week to speak with the commentator who's going to be handling commentary this week, this weekend for this year's Roctober. Gave him some of the advice that I learned, showed him some of the bad things from last year and some of the good things from last year, like when me and Mike were on the commentary together. I showed him a couple of our interactions because thank goodness I want to thank everybody who saved clips from the Twitch stream last year because apparently none of the archiving stayed. But there's a ton of clips that I was able to go through and catch the goods and the bads of what was going on, along with, I can't believe people kept clips of the advertising from the Spotify playlist because at the time I didn't have a paid Spotify account. I had just a regular one, and I was using royalty-free music playlists from Spotify, and it was a nightmare. So I told them, make sure you have some kind of music list to work off of. Anyway, so he's in good hands, and I just gave him the advice that I learned from. So hopefully he's learned from that and can do a fantastic job. I'm looking forward to watching the stream myself. I think it's the same channel, so that's twitch.tv/realmworks with an X instead of KS. That's where they had it previously. I'll keep that information as best I can updated on our social media as we come by it. So that's kind of my everything I can really donate to the process. Tom, you're flying in on Friday or Thursday?
I'm flying in Friday morning, so I'll be arriving there at around midday.
Awesome. And Jay, you're judging and arriving on the Thursday to judge Scott's awesome event?
That is correct information. I'm going to get there 10:30 in the morning, and the event starts at 7 in the evening. I have no idea what I'm going to do all day.
Make sure you are up to date on your card list character keywords.
I'll have to download that document.
Amber and myself did it last year, and I think by the end of it, I was almost as drunk as the winners. So,
how bad was it in terms of new rules, though? Is that a major factor?
No, they were a non-factor because a lot of the cardless figures have nothing special. And honestly, I spent about 3 hours trying to reread Deadman from Justice League.
Oh,
and
no.
Nobody pulled them. So it's like, oh, okay, well, why did I do that? And, like, some of the questions were really weird. It's like, you know, there's team abilities that don't do what they used to anymore, or there's team abilities that don't exist anymore, so I have to remember what they were. Like,
yeah, luckily for me, a friend of mine basically documented everything rules change, whatever, should have the team abilities, and he even translated as best he could all the special powers to current legalese, so that should be a good document to have on hand.
Yeah. Oh, just keep ahead of whatever. I mean, honestly, I would personally just say whatever the last version of the rules was. I think the only really tricky ones are like the Skrull team ability. You got to remember that it's a 6 shape change, and the most recent rule was like, yeah, you could use it with shape change, blah blah blah. But that was fine last year. I'm trying to remember what really weird things came up, and I can't think of anything that stuck out.
If they have indie boosters, how the pseudo mystics works there is questionable. Like, is it old or new mystics? I don't know if they're going to have those boosters, though.
Well, you know what? As the judge, I would say, like, you being the judge, I say use your best judgment, and probably say, look, if it's like the Mystics team ability, it is the Mystics team ability. Deal with it. You know?
That's pretty much where I was going to go. Basically, if it was still a thing today, it would be the same as Mystics is now, and if you don't like it, I'm doing the best I can.
Fight me.
Can I just say though, I would hope he would use his best judgment because he's judging. Just saying. Just saying.
That classy humor from a classy man.
This has become a pun channel. Last night, I got started on a series of Thor puns because obviously Dinothor.
Dinothor?
Oh,
so
come on.
I'm telling people not to be Thor about it, and then as I got further along, I tried to keep them low-key. All right.
Still, the best is Borthor being number 24.
Borthor 24.
Yeah, totally.
All right, but Tom, you're going for competition. Where is your head at? How are you planning to play, other than lucking your way through it like you usually? No, just kidding.
No. That's not.
Tom has no intent of winning or no interest in winning. He's just going to accidentally stumble across Rock World Cup champion.
You know what's funny is that's more or less where my head's at. It probably won't come as any surprise to anyone that I'm still closely considering what I'm even going to play. I mean, obviously, I'm happy with the team that I won Rock Canada Cup with, but I don't like being predictable. So I'm sort of I'm simmering on some other ideas, but none of them are really that appealing to me. I kind of want to crib from Jay because I really like his team.
I mean, it's not actually that hard to play. So if you can get like one playtesting game in before the event, I would recommend it.
My understanding of the strategy is don't die. And the team does that for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It doesn't die. It really doesn't. It's really annoying, and I hate it.
Well, it'll give up. I don't think it gives up some
points.
I was just going to say it does give up some points, so it's a question of making sure that you're playing it aggressively enough that it will, in fact, produce some more points than you're giving up in the process.
If you're not able to get the number of points that you need, you're not going to be winning games anyway.
Well, that's true, but I think that that's probably true of every game.
75 points to get a win because the team doesn't really give away more than. I'm just thinking, like, what's the overdrive is easy enough to kill. The Mudmen are killable. Ironheart's killable, but like it's not easy to score that kind of stuff.
Most people at this point have a way of getting across the board and dealing with your retaliators, so I'm going to assume the Groot's dead.
Against Emily, yeah, she automatically goes for the Groot and the Carnage.
I guess there's plenty of Sam Caps out there. There's plenty of other things that cross the board. And there's also enough shredders that I suspect the Mudmen might go down fairly quickly in the right sort of set of circumstances.
You'd be surprised, actually, being able to tie up the shredders as well as the taxi, because there's not really any taxis that ignore characters that would be played with shredders. So it's actually not the worst part of it.
Yeah, the Mudmen are really annoying. The Mudmen are really annoying. They're surprisingly
Mudmen are one of the stupidest things that have ever been printed.
Yeah. I mean, there's another I've been trying to figure out because I love themes so much, and so I wanted to try to come up with some sort of Mudman carry across the board type of thing that was built on theme. The best thing I can come up with so far is a past theme team in classic Tom fashion.
Tom is just stuck in the past.
I am, but I can't finish it off, as it were.
Oh my God. I love that you just said that because before the show, I sent Jay and Jay a message on Facebook with a team that I made with past keyword.
Oh God!
What? And with what do you think?
I know. I wish it was legal this weekend. No, I'm very seriously considering past for World Cup.
Oh my God!
World Championship. So once again, I guess we'll do the same thing.
That's so funny. We've so been in the same headspace lately with building, with theme building. I love it.
I don't know how I feel about Double Dinosaur these days, though. Like, I think there's too many teams that could kill him too easily. Like, I love him, but.
I agree, but I don't know. I still, again, this is not the type of thing that one should be talking about on the Monday night before one goes to Rock World Cup, and I recognize that. I'm not going to make any bones about it. This is not the podcast that you watch if you are preparing for the Rock World Cup, unless, of course, you're looking for what not to do. What not to do is like spend several weeks working all the time and not playtesting, and then considering what team you want to build shortly before you have to start packing. Solid lesson for all of you out there: don't do that. I will level with you. I don't want this to come off the wrong way. It's not that I don't want to do well, but I just look forward to the experience of going to this event. I feel a lack of pressure to some extent. A lot of we local Canadian folk are not able to make it down this year, and that's too bad. And it sort of adjusts my thinking on it a little bit. I guess part of it is that we're all going on mass and it feels like we've got something to prove. When it's just, me and Jay and a bunch of other like-minded, happy HeroClix nerds gathering together in one place, I'm excited to see what that level of play really looks like in person, since I really haven't had much of an opportunity to go south the border in the last year or so. My amount of HeroClix play in total has been reduced, and that I've done well in the play times that I've been able to play, and I'm exceptionally grateful for that. But I can't very well. I'm not going to go in with any kind of feeling that I have worked super hard to be there. I've worked as hard as I can under the circumstances, and I'm glad to be able to be a part of it in despite of that. I don't feel like I am wasting my time just because I haven't had the opportunity to devote as much time and effort to it as I have until this point, because I've really enjoyed the last couple of years of the Rock World Cup, and I'm excited to go this year. So I don't have a team, and if I run into some other stragglers while I'm down there and they want to create a team left over and have it, then I'll do it. And if I can't, then I'll watch and I'll play what I can. And when the time comes for the finals, then I will do the best that I can with whatever it is I'm playing, and whatever happens, happens. Again, this is not. You shouldn't take what I'm saying here as advice on how to win. But if anything, it would be good to perhaps take something of how I like to approach the game in a time where I don't have the time or resources to devote to going super hard. Instead, I just like to be a part of the experience.
It's a good way to look at it. And I can't wait to start talking to you about the World Cup itself or HeroClix World Championships, because I'm itching to get either a new team or go back to those monsters.
Yeah, I would like a new team, and I it's funny that I mean, I don't know where I'm landing, but it's what I at least would like to start working towards. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
I would just also like to remind you that Al Jordan has passed. And ruler.
Yes.
And Tom, you are Canadian.
That's right. True. Just saying, represent.
I mean, like, there's a little picture of Al Jordan on the Canadian passport these days. It's if you're a HeroClix player, they add it to the front just as a reminder, and then they'll check your luggage for it. You're going to a HeroClix tournament. You better have this Al Jordan figure. I've been told about.
It's also becoming like an expression for everything's all right. Hey, how you doing today? Oh, Al Jordan.
Al Jordan, eh?
Al Jordan.
Al Jordan. If I could level any kind of advice, and I've been leveling this advice right now, as far as if you're going to Roctober and you're worried about a matchup, you're never going to not worry about that matchup. We're entering, and we still are in, and we're only going to be in for a little bit longer, a wide open, multiple possibility metagame. What that means is your team's not going to have the answers for all the possibilities. But what you do need to know is how to play your team the best that you could possibly play it in the event that you are in a possible bad matchup, or just in any kind of matchup. Because I say this a lot, the wider the metagame, the harder it is to practice how your team is going to work in it. It's better to look at your team and know all the tricks it has, so as to make better decisions in all of your games. Like as we enter this last week of it, if you're very close to a team, it might be time to just decide that that's the team you're going to go with and start working on your tough games. And I think that's the best approach to take right now, because there's the good side of a wide open meta. I can play just about anything and be competitive. The problem with this is the practice level, and that's not a bad problem to have if you ask me. But Mike, you unmuted all of a sudden. I felt like you had something to jump in there with.
No, sorry. I was trying to actually go the opposite way and mute because my phone went off. Tom and I were texting. Tom and I were texting. But I do have something actually to add to that. I would say one of the most important things at this point, if you're going into this and you are looking at your team and you're trying to decide, what you want to go with, and if you're actually worried about something like that, the most important thing I would say is if there's something about your team or there's the main aspect of your team or sort of the main trick or whatever, if it's got a thing that can be taken apart by losing map, or you know what I mean? Like if there's one matchup that just annihilates that strategy, that may be the indicator you may want to reconsider something. You know what I mean?
If you're losing before you're winning, before you're playing.
Exactly. Like as an example, we had a practice game this week, and I had to play a King Shark team based around that Rock Flashpoint map since I won one at Canada Cup. I said I would, and the team is great and fun and awesome and does a lot of cool things, provided you win the map. If you don't win the map, it really
function.
it just really doesn't do any. I mean, it's not bad, it's not horrible, but it's gonna get slapped around like a little kid, So that's the only thing I'd say is if you feel like, man, I made this team and it does this really cool thing, and I get but if it can just get taken apart, I just remember going to Philly Wizard World one year. And it was back when Battlefield conditions were in, and I built a whole thing around team abilities, and someone played disbanded, and my team was like literally just a bunch of figures, a bunch of random useless figures, and he just one at a time picked off my team. So it's the only thing I would say. If you're in that place and you're looking at your team and you're nervous about it, if it's something like that, then maybe you want to reconsider. Other than that, like they're saying, if you've been playing it this long and you put the love into it, go with it, man. Like half the experience is the experience, right? It's learning, it's playing against big players and seeing what works for them, what's working for you. You know, I mean, one of the greatest games I ever had was against Patrick, and he destroyed me in that game. But I had a moment where I did something and he thought that was cool, and we had a great conversation about the game, and I felt like I learned so much in that loss that my game came to another level. So, you know, going to this event and playing is going to do so much for your game overall anyway. So you know, the experience is that's so worthwhile.
I couldn't agree more. It's funny that you mentioned it, because you mentioning the fact that you remember that game with Patrick makes me think of, I didn't go to Worlds last year, but I went the previous year, and I got knocked out by Patrick. And I went to Rock Worlds 2 years ago, and I got knocked out by Josh Ernest. And I went to Worlds last year, or Rock Worlds last year, and got knocked out by Scott Crampton. And I mean, these are great people to get knocked out by. And I learned a lot in those matches, and really, it's one of those things that maybe some people might take it for granted, especially those who travel more or already kind of live in the vicinity of where a lot of the best players of this game are. No insult to a personal local community. It's just like a lot of the iconic players of this game you have to go places to see them, and we don't always have the opportunity to do that. And so it's really exciting to get the opportunity to play at that setting, and just have. I echo Mike's point, even though I'm not a great example of it myself as far as practice is concerned. I mean, I was before Rock Canada Cup, and I want to try to get in what I can here. And I really do think that right now we're living in a world where the player is perhaps more important than it's been in the last several years of the game. There are no particular builds that are just rock, paper, scissors, and other things for the most part. At least they're not the ones that are rising to the top. The best builds don't have an easy counter, and that's why they are the best. The best builds are also not point and click for the most part. We're really living in a great place where the best results tend to be had by the best players edging out their opponents, and that's the best place for the game to be. And that's kind of where I feel like the game is, which is a really exciting time to be playing. But it also means that you have to be a good player. So you have to commit to that team and play it well. I'm going to have to take my own advice here, but it's good advice.
Jay, anything you want to slap on there?
I think if you have a well-practiced team at this point, there's no point changing streams. Like that happened to you at Nationals that one year, Jason.
I don't want to talk about it.
Look, it's happened to Mike too.
It's happened to us.
Oh yeah, I remember last year's World Cup.
I'm also going to point out that when that happened to me, I had just got Fausted.
Fair enough.
And like I got Fausted, and then I had that.
That'll ruin anyone's day.
Like, forget it. No. I wasn't going to deal with another bad day like that, and I ended up just making a bad decision. And can either somebody tackle me or get big enough to tackle me to stop me when I do that?
No, dude.
We've all done it, though. It always happens where you just have that moment where you're like, what the hell did I build? This is never going to work. What am I doing here?
Yeah, yours in the murder room was probably one of the most epic. Like, we were up till like 3 a.m, and I got documentary footage of that one day I'm going to make something out of. It's it was like just a massive bad decision to do what we did to you.
I'm the worst. Don't mess with the Pisces, man. Mm-hmm. We're indecisive enough.
Man, and a lot of your decisions were fishy that day.
Yeah, they really were. They really were.
All right. We go to Rock Canada Cup this coming weekend. I'm just going to give everybody a quick rundown of the schedule because that's a nice thing, and I'll let Tom and Jay ooh and ah at it while we're talking about it. It's always a ton of fun to look these things up. Let's go to Rock Cup. All right, quick. Let's see if the preview monitor works properly. Beautiful. All right. So we have Thursday schedule. Thursday schedule is just going to be Scott Crampton and Critical Clicks' team championship, which is it's nonsense. It's just nonsense. So
I'm actually just pulling it up myself. I can't remember if there were any details that weren't on there that might be in the Critical Clicks group. I'm just pulling it up. 1 second.
I'm just going to add Tom back to the conversation too.
Anyway, I think double check the Critical Clicks Facebook group. There might be some details there that aren't in here specifically.
It's mostly sold out. They added like 2 more players worth of figures.
No, I think there was something about the player with the modern boosters can use trouble alerts or something. I might be remembering wrong. Double check the Critical Clicks Facebook group too.
I'm not going to double check the Critical Clicks Facebook group. You can do it if you're going to be.
I'm telling the peoples, not the you.
All right, because the me is busy trying to get this whole schedule lined up for everybody. All right, the Friday schedule, which is the important schedule, which one Tom and Jay will be there for. Jay, of course, will be judging. Battle Royale start at 10 a.m. 11 a.m. is the Super Qualifier special event that they're running. 7:30 is David Gosselman's wedding.
Yeah, isn't that awesome?
That's amazing. Dave is
Do I
my
have to bring
hero.
a suit?
Actually, I think Dave would insist that you didn't wear a wrestling shirt and bring a sign.
Okay.
Because Dave is like us as a wrestling fan.
That's good, because I was only planning on packing a carry-on.
8:30 is the dinner and show. And that's always run by Scott Crampton and crew. It's always a murder mystery, and it's always a ton of fun. Last year, I was at the head table, so everybody was worn out. Unfortunately, I was also worn out myself because I'd been commentating all day. So, but it is a lot of fun and worth it if you have a good energy group.
I just want to point out that we won last year. Our table, Tom, myself, and the rest of our table, we won the mystery. Just want to point it out. Just want to keep that on record.
Canadians did something at Rock Cup.
Yeah, I was going to say, we can say we came in first at Rock Cup. That's all I'm going to say.
We peaked with a win at the dinner, and it was all downhill from there.
All right. Saturday is where things start to get more intense. 9 a.m. Battle Royale start. 9 a.m. as well is where the team tournament starts. It's $90, 6 boosters for 3 players. There's a constructed side event at noon. 3-4 rounds of Swiss for that. At 3 p.m., the Rock semifinals, a Rock Cup semifinal event starts. That is 50 Rock points to enter or a buy into it, and it's 300 points modern limited. Check the Rock site, rockcup.com, to find out details on what the Rock limited format is, but for the most part, it's nothing bigger than a peanut base. Equipment's allowed, but not character equipment or something ridiculous. I don't know.
Well, there's nothing in modern that's equipment that wouldn't be allowed.
Exactly. So it's a non-issue. 3 p.m. as well, there's a sealed tournament starting, and then at 7:30 is the team final. So if you're in the team championship or in the team tournament, 3 p.m. comes around, they're going to stop that, let the semifinals go, and then after the semifinals, that's when they're going to do the team finals, which is the top 8 teams from the team tournament. And then 11 p.m. is the Midnight Super Qualifier. The Midnight Super Qualifier is a 300-point Majestic Rock Age, which is the Rock Age tournament with a ban list. Again, check this site here, rockcup.com, and then go to the Rock Cup details, go to the Saturday, and just check this ban list because it's a list of very powerful, potent figures that kind of mess up the format.
I think you can find the ban list on Majestics as well.
Yeah, but it's right beside the tournament details there, too.
Yeah.
And then Sunday, 10 a.m., some Battle Royale start, but also the finals start. At noon, they're going to start a consolation tournament. So if you didn't get in the top 32, go play some more 300-point Modern. It's free to enter that. And at 2 o'clock p.m., there's a lunch break. Top 32 starts at 3 o'clock p.m. So top 32 in this event will be earning some money. Let's just kind of pull that up, I guess. Rock Cup. Let's do the prizing. Here we go. So first place gets $4,000, 20 TCG player points. Design a map for 2019's championships. Design a token for the 2019 championships. You get a trophy, a custom mug, a case of HeroClix, 2 maps, and some LEs. They just say LEs, so I don't know what they are. You're looking at it right now if you're watching on the stream. These guys don't see what I'm looking at, unless they're keeping up with me. Second place gets $2,500, 20 TCG player points, main event buy to 2016. Both the top 2 get a main event buy to the 2016 finals. Actually, top 4 get that as I look down a little bit further.
2016?
They got a time machine?
Sorry,
They get a
you know what?
time machine?
They copy
Holy
pasted.
cow.
This is going to be 2019. Howard,
Sure.
watch your copy pasting.
Sure, the year that I don't go, they get a time machine. You get to go back.
To go back to the year I went to, so
Son of a gun.
that's why they did so well.
Does it actually say TCG player points?
Yeah, it does. Like I said,
Oh
this is
my
copy
God.
pasting. So it's gonna be Rock Cup points. Thanks,
Also,
guys, for
keep-
catching me on that one early. You guys let
since
me
you
get as far as
mentioned-
2016 in 3rd and 4th place, but you couldn't catch me on the TCG player points.
I also, now that we're on that topic, this is the last year that those are going to be valid for Rock events. So if you have the paper TCG player points,
Tom,
overuse
if you
them.
want to bring some with you and just give them to somebody, just stop by my house at some point.
That's going to be tricky without my car, but all right.
Well, I mean, at some point beforehand, not necessarily on that day. Like, if you wanted to stop by Wednesday, let me know.
No. I mean, my car's out of commission at the moment, but
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Anyway, 3rd and 4th place, $1,250. 5th to 8th place, $600. They all get 20 Rock Cup points. 2 maps and at least 2 maps. Jeez.
Cool.
9th to 16th
So
gets $250. A map and 10 Rock Cup points. And 17th to 32nd gets $100 and 5 Rock Cup points and some LEs. So yeah, that's surprising. There's dollars on the line. Dollars.
yeah,
Man.
fighting with their tricep.
I like just kind of getting that out there because people like to be informed, and I've been pretty. I'm not gonna lie, I've been pretty bad about getting the correct information out about what needs to be told about The Rock this year. Look at those try-hard sentinels.
Tri-Sentinels are already even going to be legal.
The dancing tri-sentinel.
Try-hard sentinels, like I said.
Oh, they're trying hard.
All right. So we're going to move into questions now. If you have any questions you're watching live, put capital letters question in front of what you want me to see in the chat. Looking forward to Tom, seeing how you do at the Rock Canada Cup. Jay, good luck at judging. Mike, you and me can watch it at Twitch streams.
Going to be so happy to be there. I'm really excited.
Yeah.
Legit excited.
I just realized, too, I invited Tom to Team Seal practice on Friday, and I didn't think that all the way through.
I was going to say, I'm like, that's going to be a hard one to make.
Well, it will Skype it.
Yeah, that's what we'll do.
What I think I'll actually do. I might have murdered my CPU usage. What is going on here? Because I'm now stalled. There we go. Okay, my computer is going a little wacky right now. Bear with me. Okay.
Hey, that's my gig.
I know. I'm taking Tom's place here. It's worse because what's actually streaming out is everything that's going on with my computer. So they saw me go for like 12 and a half seconds. All right. The Alpha Patron, Mr. Michael Fedor. By the way, when I say patron, check us out at patreon.com/marriedwithclicks if you want to support us with a little bit of your own dollars. It gives you access to our patron Discord and our patron Hangout, which we had this past Sunday. If you want to check out how we handle that, it's a lot of fun. The more the merrier. We want more people to be joining in on that, so please get in on that. The next one will be in early November. Patron Discord, of course, is where we have quite a few conversations. Me and Em are back to being active in that again, which is really exciting because we've been a little bit lax about it because I'm a terrible human being and have been busy at work, but not the way the press tells me. All right. So Mr. Michael Fedor says, would a God Doom have been too much for the set? Is it destined to be a con exclusive? At this point, it better be a con exclusive because I'm getting a little upset about this.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know. I feel like I might be some kind of a Doctor Doom fan. I don't know. Something. I feel like it's in my skin somewhere. It's Tom, what do you think?
Well, I hope it's not a con exclusive. I hope that they do. If they ever get the rights back, we all know that's what they were waiting on. If they ever get the opportunity to make it, then I would hope they would do it as figure prizing for an OP event. That's what I would like to do. I'd like to do a 4 or 5 month sort of Secret Wars proper OP event and have like a participation prize and a monthly prize and a grand prize. And somewhere in there you get a God Doom. That to me makes more sense. In some ways, it's actually harder to acquire than a con exclusive, but it gets it into everybody's stores. Gives them something to fight for.
Dear WizKids, give me $50. I'll give you a character design. Me and Tom did an episode talking about this kind of stuff.
I was gonna say, I think like you would give them $50.
I'll give you $50. I'll give you the character design. Just use it because people loved it. Mike, what are your thoughts on the matter?
Yeah, well, it's funny. Tom kind of covered how I wish it would be, and you covered how I think it's going to be,
Okay.
which is, I think, if it will potentially be a con exclusive. I think because of the fact that it'll be a while before we see any more, maybe Secret Wars stuff. Like they'll move on to whatever the next set is. And within that time, they'll sort out the legality of things. They'll finish dealing with all that should be finally dealt with. Because really, we didn't get them in this set because like they should have the control of it now. Marvel basically has Fantastic Four.
Mm-hmm. I think timing kind of screwed that up.
That's it, because the sets are really picked and designed like way back.
Probably
like
last
like
year.
a good, yeah, exactly. So I think that's the reason why the figure didn't end up in the set, and I don't think we're actually going to get a Secret Wars multi-month event. I would love one because I love that kind of what if type characters and stuff like that. That's totally my vibe. But I think, unfortunately, it'll end up being a con exclusive figure because it'll be a self-contained kind of entity, as it were.
Right.
All right, Jay, would you like?
I feel like it's unlikely that we ever see one of those kind of events again, considering we've scaled down from the 6-month huge set War of Light to Civil War being even smaller, shorter, to Days of Future Past being pretty bare bones. But other than that, I'm pretty sure, yeah. Somebody asked WizKids at a recent trade show what the deal with that was, and they said they still don't really have the permission yet. So I feel like whenever they get the okay, they'll probably put it through to get it in as soon as possible, which I feel like means it's more likely that it ends up as a con just because it is easier to produce those than, produce something in a whole set and mess with the whole set list, all that stuff. So I feel like con is more likely just as far as logistics go. I would be surprised if they didn't have a design that they were sitting on, hoping that they could release it. So
I have this weird feeling before we move to the next question that WizKids is sitting on this Fantastic Four set that is like 12 different versions of each of the Fantastic Four and a chase set of Doctor Dooms. And the second Marvel says, "Okay, go," they hit the button and it goes to the manufacturer, and the set is like pre-designed, and that's a wild dream of mine. Who am I kidding?
I don't think you're that far off. I think for sure somebody has said, "Hey, everybody, let's in your spare time, just keep doodling, just keep like they've got to have something there." I mean, especially when you look at all of the things that we've accomplished with the rules now, with special powers and the way traits are, whatever. I can only imagine what you could really do with just the Fantastic Four themselves, just Invisible Woman. What they could do with her and special powers now, come on. Epic. It's got to happen. And you know what? We need a maker.
Yeah.
We need a maker. We need some evil, crazy Reed Richards because, wow.
I mean, the Prime Mechanic now, which that...
Oh, is that his name now? All I know is that...
No. Jay is saying, like, make him the Prime version of Mr. Fantastic.
Oh, yeah, whatever.
Yeah, that level of power is Prime-worthy to me. So.
I can't even believe that Ultimate Reed Richards turned into that character.
So awesome.
Honestly, anything Ultimates was bound to turn into that.
But if you go back and read those early books, it's like, wow.
How did these guys get called heroes? I get a lot of that.
This is like the most epic.
Is he eating the Blob?
Yeah, it's so good.
He's eating him. What is wrong with you, Mark Miller? All right, next up, put a stamp on it, technically, because Chris Cockhouse does have a question, but it was asked via Jay.
Well, that's fine.
Actually, I should probably cut this in half because that's how much of Chris Stockhouse is left. That man is looking good these days. Keep up the good work, sir. He says, "Hi, Metal Lab. Does riding with a big group of people affect how much you bring with you to the big events? When I went to Origins, I loaded up my car with as many figures, maps, tokens, etc. as potentially needed for anyone who might need them or want to practice with them. But I had the 'it was my car' attitude. Should I pack more conservatively so my car mates have room for their stuff too? Wish me luck at Rock Cup. I wish all the Canada clicks was going to be there, but I'm glad to see Jay again so soon." Well, you're also going to see Tom.
Hooray!
And so as the quintessential passenger, allow me to say, if you're sharing, obviously you're sharing the car, you do want to limit what you're bringing. And the best way to do that is have a singular container sized that is the meta box, I like to call it, where you just bring like the figures that you know people might need to borrow from you. Your team is in like its own little play kit that's kind of like contained over here. But then the meta is this other little box that you bring which is keynote figures that either people have already asked you for, or you think somebody might need to borrow, or you might need to make a last-second decision on. And that's generally the best way to do it, you know. Cars have a fair bit of room. If you get 5 people in there, 5 people, like I use a toolbox for the meta box, and that ends up working as well alongside my play kit. And then I usually just carry a backpack because I don't mind rolling up my clothes. I'll use an iron in a hotel. Tom is still baffled by the fact that I ironed my graphic tees while we were at this is the face he pulled when it's like he's ironing a t-shirt. It was wrinkled, Tom.
It's not like I mind, but whatever.
You seemed so bothered by it.
You can do whatever you want to do, but
we're in a room where people clearly died. But the fact that I was using the hotel iron to straighten up my shirt
floats your boat, right?
Like that room we were in is enough to counteract any good work you might do. You can iron that shirt and it'll still smell like it smoked 25 packs of cigarettes that day.
We were smoking for ourselves and the room next to us and the room down the hall and the guy working at the front.
Yeah. I can just imagine somebody saying, "Wow, your rancid shirt looks very."
And look, it was not wrinkled anymore, and that was the key. It didn't look like I balled it up and threw it in my backpack because I think I have the back. No, it's not within arm's reach. But it's not a big backpack that I throw my clothes in because you can roll up clothes and you can wear pants more than one day. And Tom, any advice you want to add to that? Because you're usually the driver.
Well, yeah, I guess as my only piece of advice is, as the driver, yes, consider the room of your passenger stuff. I was going to say, you're the perennial passenger and also the perennial bringer. I have so little to begin with that I tend to.
Tom, as a driver, doesn't bring his own stuff. I bring his team.
I show up with a want list as opposed to an extra medal list. Yeah, no, well, yeah, 100%. If you're driving, consider that you need your passengers and their cargo, and it's always going to be more than you think it's going to be.
All right, Mike.
I too am often a passenger, more because I don't own a car, though sometimes I have the rental. So I think the best approach is like if I can carry it with me on the subway, then I feel good about it. So
pack is so much into a car that if the car broke down, you'd still be okay.
There you go. So I have a pretty good backpack that actually fits my little meta case that can hold my team and maps and stuff like that. So that's, you got to be considerate about your car mates. I think a backpack worth of stuff is like sort of a reasonable amount of stuff to be expecting to be bringing with you. But that's kind of it, because especially if it's a 8, 9, 10-hour ride, right? If it's one of those big ones, you gotta be nice. Those are stretchers. So but I will say this, Chris, I have done the exact same thing. I think, what was it, Nationals, I think, and I had a minivan and I brought like every modern set.
I remember Mike was like, "Do you need to borrow anything?" Jason like, what?
literally. I mean, like, Chris, you don't understand. I keep them in like plastic shoebox tubs. Every current modern set at the time, I just put the tub in the thing. I was so like, I don't know what to build. I'm just putting it. Yeah. So I understand the urge to do that. And when you're driving, I am fully supportive of that plan.
Jay?
I feel like you don't need to bring literally everything. Like, there's definitely certain stuff that's going to be not worth bringing, especially as far as maps go, when you consider how much space the Neoprene maps actually take up, because, wow, I had to reconfigure my whole system. I had to get literally a printer paper box just for the rock maps. But other than that, I think if you're driving, you should be entitled to a little more space per person than your just a little. But you don't do it to the point where your passengers don't have room for their stuff, sort of thing. I think there's a balance to be made.
Also, as the perennial supreme professional passenger, I also want to point out that if you bring snacks, people are a little bit more lenient on how much space you take up. Just saying. I have bought myself a whole trunk with snacks.
It's funny, the very first question that Chris asked also was, does traveling with other people affect how I pack? And I would just like to say, yeah, it does. If I know I'm going with my friends, I'll
Tom now knows he can use anything in the game as opposed to just what he has.
Right. Yeah, it affects my whole mentality. That's what's really throwing me off about this weekend. I'm thinking about, like, what can I play that's all commons because I own it.
Jay, Tom might need you to come over to my house and get his team.
Jay and Mike are both bailing me out on this trip.
You have Jason, who has everything. You have me, who has pretty much everything important and doesn't play. So
yes, you're helping me out. Mike's helping me out. It's a team effort.
I gotta meet him on a street corner downtown or something and hand off clicks. I'm gonna wear a trench coat.
Make it look as shady as possible. It's a ton of fun because
not even the first time we've done it.
I've dealt with like magic cards in front of my office and just people coming. HeroClix Stan has come to my office to make HeroClix deliveries. I make it look as shady as possible. He'll hand me like a grocery bag. I'll hand him money and I'll walk by and this guy's like, how many drugs did he get?
yeah. Stan and I met in a parking lot of a McDonald's once. That was great. It was great. He opened up the back of the van and I was getting boxes out. It was just so fantastic. It's great.
This is our fandom of HeroClix Stan, the local HeroClix dealer. Literally.
I'm shady looking enough. Okay, I've been cast as a drug dealer multiple times in background things. So
on that note, if Mike is one of your passengers, be ready to be stopped at the border.
Oh, that's true.
I have a very common name.
Very, very common. So, you know what? You guys give me as much crap about the murder room. I didn't slow us down at the border. I'm just saying.
Yeah, it's hard to blame Mike for that, but
I love that they know it's not me, but I still have to go through the whole thing. Like it's like
the guy was annoyed that he's like,
it's like,
really?
Different birthday. Yeah, no, different birthday. No, different race. No, different age. No, different,
I slammed the desk a little too hard.
Like nothing matches. And what's funny is when I fly, I never have this problem. So I don't know why they have a different system. Anyway,
I remember when you fly, you get more compliments by the customs guy than anything. Is like, I think there was one customs guy's like you love your tattoos, and he's like, I love your backpack. On our way home from Atlanta last year, it was
he loved that case that I had with all the clicks in it. He thought that was so cool because of course they made me pull it out when that went through the X-ray machine.
Yeah,
like, what
and
the hell was that?
Yeah, and let me tell you, poker chips tend to have like little pieces of metal in them to manage the weighting of them. Get prepared to get asked a couple questions when you're going through an airport with them. It's not a big deal, but they'll ask. You'll just show them and say, "Look, it's poker chips, man."
I just like it. Wasn't it with you too that we were crossing back across the border and we got the sort of subtly demeaning person checking us on the way back into the country? Oh, what do you have? Oh, some HeroClix. What's that?
Toys.
Toys.
Yeah, I chimed in like they're toys.
Adults that play with toys.
She's
like you
could almost. She almost.
What kind of toys? Little superheroes, and
her eyes rolled so far back in her head. I wanted to check her pulse.
yeah. Like she suddenly turned into a zombie.
I don't know because that may be my recollection of her was just her looking right at me continuously, and I'm feeling increasingly embarrassed by my life.
And I'm sure she's looking at Mike White like toys. Toys.
All
right.
Plastic superheroes. They fight.
It's like
because that's what we always do too. We make that thing,
each other.
Oh, what's happening?
Or yours, you get the Inquisitive
No,
one
it-
too. When you went over to Internal Games for one day for a quick super qualifier, I was like, "How much you bringing over? $20." It's like, "How long are you going to be there? A couple hours? I don't know."
Yeah, they were really confused. $20, that's it? Yeah.
Yeah, I even got
You're
it
gonna-
exchanged.
He's like, how long are you going to be here? A few hours? What?
All right.
Crossing the border for a few hours with no money.
You see, this is the other thing, Chris. You're going to travel with people. This happens now. Every time me, Mike, and Tom talk about travel, all of our stories come out, and that is the wonderful thing about traveling with friends for HeroClix, is you share stories with these guys, and something stupid always happens. Be it like a required trip to the washroom that just, you can't stop. Like, I remember one time speeding down the 401 at 120 kilometers an hour. We couldn't pull over. It's like, I got to throw up. Because I think all I had to eat or drink that day was like 7 Red Bulls.
Yes. That's the opposite contrast to the Jay Solomon approach, who buys soda in quantities that can only be described as barrel-ish. I was unaware they had that size.
I mean, I think it was literally right after we crossed the border too. So it was like, this is America.
Every time I go across the border, I grab the size of Red Bull I cannot get here. And everybody looks at me like, what the hell is that? It's like, it's a Red Bull.
I realized why you can drink Red Bull like that. Because you have twin boys.
I have no choice, man.
No, I meant that's 2 organ donors right there.
I'm good. I'm covered.
You're so set. You're a twin, even.
I got 3 kids, man. I'm covered.
Right?
That's 4 kidneys, 2 livers.
4
That's
kids.
He's so good right now. He's got 1 kid as a keeper and 2 extra organ donors. It's fantastic. Good thinking.
All right. Into the chat. KJ Foster, Thanos Prime, do you think it's a viable piece for major events or only locally? I haven't had a chance to really dig at him. I'm looking at him like this. I actually started looking at him when you said that, and then we got into conversation. I'm never going to say poo-poo to anything at this point, but it's going to require some forethought and understanding of a team and understanding of the dials you're running. Like his trait is clearly made for the Thanos duplicates, but there's other figures you can make that work with, I'm sure. So it's just a matter of knowing dial manipulation. I think can work that power. Killing things will get you that +2 to stats, and then of course he's got the probability control when he uses it to target an attack that would have hit Thanos and misses him. Put a Thanos duplicate on 1, and this game it has 0 point. Okay, cool. Anyway, so there's potential for him. I don't think he's outright bad in any way, shape, or form, but you will have to. I mean, you're spending as many points as you are. You're going to have to build around him. That's my thoughts on the matter. I'm going to let Jay go first because he gets stuck with the last part of questions too often. Jay, what are your thoughts on the Prime Thanos?
I mean, there's so much potential with that, with the trait. Any generic keyword that has so much future potential. But I still think it's a future potential right this second, no, because I don't think he deals with a lot of stuff that's good right now, particularly well. But also, who knows how many more 25-point pieces we're going to be seeing, because the game is swung back on the low point specialist formula kind of thing. Like, look at the stuff in this set. Like, there's a lot of there's stuff in this set that's much higher points than the highest point stuff in Joker's Wild. So it's hard to say where the game is going. So there might not be as many useful exactly 25-point pieces to play with him, but I do feel like there is potential there for sure.
All right, Mike?
Yes, I do think there is potential. I think you should consider lots of different things. And in fact, I think you should consider a Minions of Thanos build with him at 175 points. Mangog at 30, 1 Outrider at 35 points, 2 25-point Thanos duplicates, and it still leaves you 10 points for a couple of ID cards. Think about it. Give it a try. You want to play it on the underground map because the Outrider destroys terrain for you.
He doesn't destroy terrain.
Yes, he does. The Outrider?
Nope.
He
What do
just
you mean?
moves. He moves through it, but he
He
doesn't
moves
destroy
through,
it.
does not
I thought
destroy
it
it.
said it
Each realm is
destroys
his
after.
big
Ignore
rock.
HC realms. They're wrong.
Oh, well, then you know what? Take him out, put a third Thanos duplicate on there, and now you've got actually 20 points for ID cards. Try it out. I think it'll be fun.
Spread the word, folks.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun. I love the fact that he has minions of Thanos keyword, and Mangog has minions of Thanos keyword because he's a fantastic retaliator. And again, you could get 3 of those duplicates on there. Use him as your call-in battery while letting those guys die to keep giving him those infinity tokens to jack his stats up. And then he becomes pretty tough to take out. You're giving up points, but I think it has some potential, something to think about and try.
All right, Tom.
Well, you guys said it well. I'll be the only dissenting voice that says I think it's an outside possibility. I mean, certainly for all the reasons that you've all gone over, I think there are potential ways of trying to make it work. But I'm not a huge fan of anything that involves giving up a lot of your own points in order to make your one-man army more viable. One-man armies are hard enough in the first place. Having to make them better by chewing through your own team it's going to be hard. So it's not that it doesn't have potential. I agree that there probably is that possibility there, but it comes at quite a cost, more than I think I'd be comfortable with.
I can get behind that. All right, next up, KJ Foster also wants to know if the Tri-Sentinel with the Witch Queen LeFay for a mystical theme does it have potential. I mean, throw on a Sheriff Strange, and I think you're off to the races already.
Yeah, I think you've got it. You're onto something.
Yeah.
There's another team I built.
Yeah. I think I put a Mephisto on there somewhere too.
Yep, Mephisto's on there too, because why wouldn't you? Especially because with Witch Queen LeFay, if she misses, then she loses that power for the rest of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Her special attack power or movement power. So obviously you don't want to decrease her defense because it's only an 18 and she's soft with only having Mastermind. But you especially don't want to lose that power.
Yeah.
You can't afford to lose that power. So I think Mephisto on that team, you've already got Perplex. She's got Perplex on herself. You got a 12 attack to begin with. Put those Perplexes wherever you want and make sure you don't miss whatever it is that you're doing with her. I think it's a great combination. Yeah. I mean, because with and then if you throw the Tri-Sentinel on there, you've actually only spent 225 points. You've still got 75 more points left. Throw more mystical stuff on there as well as ID cards. Maybe think about Nico Minoru, who's only 40 points with TK and probability control herself, since you're not going to get probs since mystical is not a named theme. And already you got a pretty solid team there. And I think you even had room to maybe put Alex Wilder on there.
I'm just going to point out, mystical without probs since when?
Yeah. But you know what I mean? Like, absolutely. That Tri-Sentinel, I think, has a couple of keywords, both mystical and pass, that can be used very well. And that Witch Queen LeFay is a fantastic figure, both with mystical and ruler.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, ruler was already starting to look pretty good as an alternative to monster at one point for me. And then they added this figure. I was like, uh-oh.
Well, hell, I would just off the top of my head, I would play her with 2 Groots, and that's only 190 points. Mm-hmm. And now, for sure, I can use at least 2 Walking Woods as constant, like, Mastermind fodder, right? Like, just ways of always keeping her alive. And again, I'd have only 110 more points. Well, I'm saying leave 2 behind and send 2 up, right? Like, it's just, there's so much potential. I think that's one of my top 5 figures in the set. For sure, Witch Queen.
Jay?
Shame on all of you for not mentioning Green Lantern. That barrier synergy with the Tri-Sentinel is amazing.
Yep, that's another one.
Shame on all of you.
Shame on nothing. I added 1 figure to the build. All right. Next up, the Rugged Dookie, also known as Mr. Aaron Cantu. Check him out at 2 clicks for KO. Do you guys consider your show group a team? If so, how much do you tell each other about? I'm guessing he's saying about your teams. It doesn't seem like much at all. Well, okay. Here's the truth. I don't go to very many tournaments, and therefore, I don't get a chance to share too often. I think I told everybody how stupid I was going to be for Canada Cup. Like all of these guys, as far as my bad decision making.
I was there when you came up with the decision, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, because I made the decision based on like a stupid sealed format. We share plenty when we have an idea or we need each other's input. I am the guilty party in this matter because my three friends here, they live in the Toronto area, a little bit more accessible to Toronto. They also have the means with which to get to the same venue. On the other hand, work in the suburbs, live in the suburbs, and as a result, I don't have quite the access that these guys have to the same store. Now, I'm not saying they don't live in suburban areas. I just live in a city that's outside of Toronto, and they live closer to Toronto than I do. Tom has access to wheels. Mike lives in the main city. Jay, you live in very close to the city on major
I live
subway
just
lines.
off the border, yeah.
So they all can get to the same venue, and I can't, and as a result, I kind of undershare, but I also undershare because I don't have much to share these days. I've been pretty bad about my own knowledge and my own actual ideas because most of what I've been playing lately is guilty, sealed. And then other than that, it was the Monster Team, which we all kind of agreed. I talked to everybody here about it before Canadian Nationals, and then that, I ran that same team to a WKO victory, and then that's been the only constructive idea I've really had that I bounced off of these guys. Work has been a major factor for me on this one, so we share plenty when we have things to share. I think is the best way to put it. I don't know, Tom. What do you think on the matter?
Well, it's an excellent question. I'm really thinking about the question of like, do I consider us to be a team? I mean, it seems like a lot of the people who identify as teams within the HeroClix community are far more what can I say?
Diligent about meeting up.
Well, yeah, that for sure. But I was thinking it's more a mentality thing. I think that their mentality is very team oriented, which I don't. We're all friends and we all share a lot. But I when we go places together, I like to think of us as a team because we identify ourselves that way. We're in team worlds and stuff, and when we hang out with each other, and it's fun to be the Canadians in the room, the Torontonians in the room, or whatever. But I would say that locally, I don't often think of us as being a team. I think of us as being friends. And so we share like friends more than I think we share like a competitive HeroClix squad. And that is an area in which like perhaps things could stand to improve. For Jason and I both, I think work is a major factor. For Mike, it's just kind of a similar thing. Like you go hard and then not so, and then hard and then not so. So it's hard to line all that stuff up. And Jay is judging more often than he's playing. So it is one of those things where I'd like to think of us as more of a team, but I think of us in practical terms as a bunch of friends who inhabit a team spirit when we travel.
Not to take, and I don't want to insult Mike or Jay with what I'm about to say. I know we felt like more of a team when we were working with Mike Payne, but that's neither here nor there, not a factor in anything. A lot of things have changed since Mike Payne has left, so I mean, it's not just him as a factor.
And also, that was a time when I was doing a different job that was a lot less demanding.
I was doing a different job that was a lot less demanding.
Yeah.
He was doing a job that was a lot less demanding.
Well, see, now I want to change my answer because my answer was going to be yes, we are a team. I actually do consider us a team. But now I want to say, that's how I feel about that. No.
Oh, enough out of you.
No, but I think Tom really does really hit the nail on the head in terms of, I think it's just we're a different kind of team, which kind of makes sense being Canadian. Like we really are. We're literally a Canadian team. So we don't do it quite the same way. Like I think of them as my team because we'll talk about team builds, and if I lose an event but Tom or Jay wins, then I feel like I was part of that win. Just like I hope that they feel like they're part of the wins that I've had because they're definitely a part of it. Through everything, through the conversations we have about figures, through the practicing, through competition, through everything. I think of, but I think a lot in terms of how we as Canadians like to compete. And I personally like to compete through cooperation. Like, I am of a socialist mindset of everybody does better when the whole society moves. I know. When the whole society moves up.
The
So
rising tide floats all boats.
Exactly, which is why
The
that's how
opinions of
come
Mike
I think
White
of
do
us.
not reflect those of our.
But that's how I say
That's
in my
fine.
mind. That's why we're a team,
No, we're good.
because we don't always have to be together, strategizing together, and all this to be of a team mindset, to want everybody to succeed. Now, in terms of talking about our teams, I think we actually do a lot. We share a lot of information. And I think, Jay Collins, that really you keeping some things closer to the hip is actually more for the show and stuff, really, ultimately, is that you've been doing a lot more building and sharing the process of building with people. And so in some cases, you've been holding back a little bit of that information because you wanted it to be more of a reveal in ways. So I think it's just been a bit of a different dynamic for you. Plus, like you said, you don't get to meet up with the three of us as often as we've had to meet up and have practice time. So that's the only difference there. Yeah. But definitely, we all talk about teams. Again,
for sure.
You know, Tom and I both played Batgirl and Gotham teams at Canada Cup because we talked about that. I message Jay Solomon constantly with team builds that I have because I'm always making teams on theme, and he'll say, yeah, that has a chance, and this isn't going to work out, and the probability of that, you know, like we have tons of these conversations.
I do love Jay's brutal honesty when I was like, all right, Jay, what do you think? And then Jay will say it's trash. Like, cool, I have something to prove him wrong with.
Well, yeah. But it is true. Sometimes I send him teams, and he's like, I can't see this ever working. And then it does. I mean, at one point in time, his comment when I was trying to build this Gotham team was, it's working way better than it looked on paper. And I took that as a huge compliment. Like, great. It didn't look like it was going to work, but hey, somehow it is. So
I said the same thing about Tom's team, notably, so not always right.
Now look at that. We both made top 8, so even better.
There you go.
So I definitely consider these guys.
Judging is affecting his judgment.
Yeah, I definitely consider these guys my teammates, and I'm proud that they're my teammates.
Yeah, that's well put.
Jay?
I thought we were a team, but apparently I was just dead wrong.
Jay, have you been listening at all?
I mean, we do everything that a team does. We travel together when possible. We play test. We talk. I mean, I don't send teams out. I'm trying to think. What were the last competitive events I played, not including Days of Future Past? The one in Michigan where I brought Emily and nobody else was there, and Vegas where literally nobody else was there. So if I play an event, you guys aren't even there. So it's not like we play together at the actual competitive events as much as playtest. But I have less incentive to build teams because I judge, therefore I don't give them out, but I'll critique teams.
We try things together like Cucumber Rockstar. It was delicious. You guys have all got to try it.
Yeah, that'll happen.
Not bloody likely.
Dude, it was delicious. I guarantee. I think it was also sugar-free. But it probably had all those chemicals that try to sweeten it. So, yeah, okay. Much to Aaron's chagrin and attempt to troll us again, we are very team-like, but we also understand that when we get into competition and tournaments, the better one of us, the winner, is probably the better one to go ahead too. So,
I guess I agree with Mike. We all like to support each other because when you see a lot of other teams, they're very much like, yeah, we're gonna destroy them, whereas our team mentality is like, let's all do well.
All right, guys, let's do better than the last time, each of us. Okay, guys, let's all win some games.
It's the thing I picked up from Mike, and I do every time whenever we play a SEAL tournament. Then before anyone opens a pack, you just say, "Good luck, everybody! Chases for everyone."
Yeah,
chases for everyone for sure. It's never gonna happen, but hey, man,
collation error.
I'm gonna put that into the universe every time because then one day when it happens,
I do distinctly also remember the first time we all went to Worlds together, and I had pre-qualified because I had snuck into top 3 in Canadian Nationals, and I had my own little cheerleading squad for my absolutely terrible team that was once again way ahead of the curve. It's like it would have been good 2 weeks later. It was like, well, it was good to have the cheerleading squad, but I was on the bottom table, almost about to lose to a specter. It's like, yeah, you did it, like barely. Next round, zombie team base, like we played this, and then turns out our practice was all wrong. All right. Somebody asked if Emily is American or Canadian. She answered that question. She's Canadian. She's one of us. One of us. But David Brzezinski wants to know, will there be an Undead 2 Gravity feed? It seems designed for a follow-up. I don't know, man. They send me bricks. Maybe?
Sales numbers were ridiculously good, so
yeah, no reason not to do it. Just whether or not they will. Who knows?
I need more demons because, this is not the greatest set in the world. It's just a tribute.
I'm going to say yes. Yes.
All right. Cool.
All right.
I don't see why not. So.
I remember the conversation came up a little while ago. It was like, what would be a neat generic set? And I was like, animals.
True. Just dogs.
Just dogs.
Imagine a cheetah with hypersonic. Like, imagine everything they've done with Beast Boy. Just, off to the side.
I played a team with 2 dogs on it the other day. Oh, it's getting better all the time.
Getting double dog. I double dog dare you to triple dog it. All right. Before we head out, Tom, is there anything you want to say to everybody on the way out?
No, everybody who's going to the Rock World Cup this weekend, I hope that I see you there and we have the opportunity to
shake hands,
and we'll let you know.
All right. Mike?
Yeah, good luck to everybody there. I'm sad to be missing it. It's a ton of fun. All the things, the dinner, the mystery dinner, all the different types of tournaments. Definitely sad to be missing Team Championship. That is always, I think, the best time. And good luck to my buddy Tom there. I hope you can go and really represent and steal a title and make some Americans cry.
Jay?
Way to snub me, Mike. What? I guess I'll plug my Majestics articles in preparation for the World Cup. I did in my hubris a top 10 maps, which is already up. It was posted today, and I have an upcoming. Here are all the rules things that I see people confused about or that need clarification, or that had recent rulings, sort of thing. So check that out whenever it happens. Hopefully before the World Cup actually happens.
Mm-hmm. All right. In addition to what Jay said, check out our sponsors over at MajesticCCG.com/Apex-Insiders. $3 a month gets you access to brain dumps from the greatest in HeroClix. It's your source for all things HeroClix. As well, you can also check out my recent article where I predicted everything about the WWE, the first set that WizKids will do for HeroClix in the WWE. And you can check out what I thought, and you can either disagree, but if you disagree, it doesn't matter if you disagree. As well, if you want to support us directly, check us out at patreon.com/marriedwithclicks. Join us in making this channel great. Special thanks to Amber, who's been doing an awesome job of editing and keeping the channel going with a lot of content. We look forward to trying to maintain the 7 days of content, though it might start to go down because Amber is now working. Congratulations to Amber. We are now a dual income household, which takes a lot of stress off of my shoulders. And we're really looking forward to what we can do for you guys with that as well. But Roctober's around the corner. You got a couple days left, guys. And it's time to get that practice. If you don't have that practice now, get it. Because practice will make your team better. Have a good night, everybody.
Wow, we already knew that.
Nice awkward outro.
That's for that.